Today we are turning our focus to ITC, a conglomerate which is one of the most valuable company in India. Ranks amongst the world's leading tobacco producer, operates one of the largest paper and paperboard plant, and has created one of the world's largest digital programs for rural farmers. There's a very high likelihood you have interacted with ITC, even if you're not familiar with the corporate name. From cigarettes and notebooks to biscuits and noodles, ITC stands tall as one of the few Indian companies with a diversified portfolio that spans multiple sectors and product categories. Despite its ubiquity, there's a sense of mystery surrounding the understanding of ITC's operation. Ask 10 different people, what does ITC do? And you would most probably get 10 different answers. And dare you ask about its business and business model, and you would probably come out scratching your head. With this video, I want to answer 3 key questions. What all does ITC and its group of companies do? What are the strengths and weaknesses of each of these subsidiaries? And lastly, what are the overall strength and weakness of the ITC group as a whole? Without wasting our time, let's get started. Established in 1910 as the Imperial Tobacco Company of India, ITC Ltd has evolved over a century to become a diversified business giant. The company, which rebranded as Indian Tobacco Company in the 1950s, eventually shortened its name to ITC. In its early years, ITC's primary focus was on the sale of cigarettes and the export of tobacco. This focus lasted for the first 6 decades, during which they also diversified into the packaging and printing business as part of their backward integration strategy. It was not until 1975 that ITC expanded its portfolio to include the hotel industry. They acquired a hotel in Chennai, now known as ITC Chola, with the main reason being able to earn high foreign exchange. Around the same time, ITC also explored the paperboard and specialty paper industry. They recognized its potential for high growth, a prediction that actually came true as they emerged as the leading player in this industry. Their diversification continued in the 1990s, when ITC established the Agri Business division, leveraging its agri sourcing competency to export commodities. This division has since grown to become one of India's largest exporters. They also launched the unique e-Choppal initiative in 2000, which began with soya farmers and now serves more than 4 million farmers. Entering the 21st century, ITC shifted its focus significantly towards fast-moving consumer goods. They initiated their journey in 2002 with the launch of Minto and Candyman. This was also soon followed by their famous brand Ashirwad Atta, and then a range of products including Sunfeast biscuit, Bingo snacks and Yippee instant noodles. Their FMCG footprints extends to fruity juice through Be Natural, dairy products with Swasti ghee and even Fabel chocolates, which are my personal favorites. As we come to 2023, ITC has grown into the 6th largest company in India, with a market cap of 5.5 lakh crores. It represents one of the most diversified business in the country, touching almost everyone's life in some capacity. They are the leader in tobacco, cigarettes, paper and packaging industry, amongst the leader in the hotel and FMCG sector, and rank as one of the top exporters of agriculture products. Alongside these, they also maintain a presence in other areas such as software services, but they are very small in that. Moving on, according to me, the most effective way to understand the ITC group is by breaking it down into 6 different divisions. And I have listed them here based on their descending order of revenue generation. And now let's look at it one by one, starting with its cigarette business. This sector has historically been one of the major revenue generators for ITC, where ITC has established an expansive distribution network that covers the length and breadth of the country, leading to an impressive 84% market share in India's $22 billion cigarette market. The company has a variety of brands such as Kings, Classic, Gold Flakes and a dozen others, allowing it to serve customers across various different segments. However, due to societal taboos surrounding cigarettes in India, ITC seldom advertises this business or garners any press coverage for it. Yet, this is the most profitable business for them. In financial year 2023 alone, the cigarette division produced about 31,000 crores in revenue, constituting about 41% of the overall revenue produced by ITC Group, and a staggering 72% of the group's profit. Reflecting on these figures, one could actually argue that ITC is primarily a cigarette company that engages in other sectors to supplement its core business. When we look at the strength of its cigarette business, we first have the massive barrier to entry in the cigarette or tobacco business in general. The inability to promote or market products directly, coupled with the need for an extensive distribution network, creates a complex hurdle for potential entrants. This dilemma leads to shops being hesitant to stock a new product due to low demand. and consumers remaining unaware of your product or unable to find it because nobody is stocking it in the first place. Next big advantage is the brand recognition, a benefit that all ITC brands share. You'll notice this recurring theme throughout this video. The fact that ITC operates so many popular brands across different categories adds significant value to each individual product. Just by the mere association with the name ITC creates substantial value for the product. Despite these strengths, there are inherent weaknesses also, such as the regulatory risk. This is a heavily regulated industry where the government often reaps more benefits from cigarette sales than the companies themselves. There's always a looming risk of increased taxes, stricter packaging laws, sales restrictions, and more. Another concern is the potential impact of health awareness campaigns on long-term demand, which ITC can do little about, at least not directly. Furthermore, an Indian-specific problem is the illicit trade of tobacco products. The legal market accounts for only a meager 8% of the total tobacco sales happening in the country, leading to a rampant counterfeiting and unauthorized sales that actually take away from the sales of ITC cigarettes. Before we proceed, if you are finding this video informative, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps me grow and continue delivering content like this. Next up is ITC's FMCG, or fast moving consumer good business. This division is actually not a single entity, but an umbrella of numerous brands across various segments. Household names like Ashirwad, Sunfeast, Bingo, Yippee, Savlon, Classmate, and Will Smith fall into this category. Though the FMCG business accounts for about 25% of the ITC's overall revenue, it's responsible for just 5% of the profit. This reveals a fiercely competitive sector under significant pricing pressure, suggesting that many of the brands under the FMCG umbrella might be operating at a loss. When we try to dig deep into division-specific brands, we find Ashirwad leading in revenue, contributing to 36% of the overall FMCG revenue. This is primarily due to the brand's dominance in its wheat flour category. Brands like Sunfeast, Bingo, Classmate, and Yippee also have strong presence in their respective market. Despite having over 25 brands generating more than 1,000 crores in sales annually, and being industry leader, profitability remains a challenge for ITC FMCG group. Now, if we look at the strength of ITC's FMCG division, it stems from its well-established brand name, extensive distribution network, and the group synergies that arise from the company's expertise in paper, packaging, and agriculture. These synergies improve efficiency, shorten time to market, and boost margins as well. However, the division faces significant challenges. It operates in an aggressively competitive landscape, with new brands frequently entering the market. Maintaining its position requires constant vigilance and considerable marketing spend. Moreover, many brands in the ITC group have struggled to capture the market, with wheat flour being the only standout success in the whole FMCG division. Now let's shift our focus to the agriculture business. ITC's Agri Business is amongst India's top agricultural commodity exporters and has considerable influence in the supply chain and procurement of commodities like soya, spices, coffee, and leaf tobacco. The division's eChopal initiative digitally connects rural farmers and provides a competitive edge through farmers' empowerment and creating a better supply chain. The Agri Business contributes about 22% of ITC's total revenue, but only about 5% of its overall profit. However, this business is instrumental to the group as it feeds into the various other businesses that it does. If we try to understand the strength in this division, it lies in the ITC's strong relationship with farmers. The eChopal initiative connects them directly with 4 million farmers, helping reduce waste, increase yield, and develop more efficient system. Furthermore, the Agri Business is an integral part of every other ITC business, supplying raw material for the FMCG sector and indirectly also helping the tobacco business as a whole. As for the weaknesses, this sector too faces a high competitive landscape, and ITC does not have much pricing leverage when dealing with raw materials in general. Next on the list is ITC's Paper and Packaging Board division. ITC's Paperboard and Specialty Paper division supplies a comprehensive range of paper and paperboard products, catering to a variety of industries. The portfolio spans packaging boards used in consumer goods, pharmaceuticals and food, as well as graphic boards and office boards used in everyday items such as books, calendar, and book covers. The main customers for them in this case are other businesses. This division accounts for roughly 11% of ITC's total revenue and 8% of its profit. However, it also requires substantial capital investment, accounting for around 40% of the group's total capex. The division's strength lies in its capital-intensive nature, which creates a substantial barrier for potential competitors. ITC as the industry leader makes considerable investment to maintain its leading position. An additional strength is the value of its extensive distribution network and the business relationship it already has. However, there are certain weaknesses too. The division is heavily dependent on wood as a raw material, making it susceptible to environmental regulation. Volatility in raw material prices also have a significant impact on the division's profitability. And now finally, the last of its major business, its hotel chain. Under the brand ITC Hotel, the hotel division stands as one of India's premier luxury hotel chain. With more than 100 hotels in over 70 destinations, ITC caters primarily to the mid-market to upscale segment. This division contributes 3% of the overall revenue and 2% of the profits, but consumes 20% of the total capex. Its luxury branding is a key strength, allowing it to position itself at the premium end of the market. However, the division has several weaknesses, including heavy reliance on economy, intense competition from other luxury chains, and a lack of sufficient demand to justify the high spending. Finally, there are other businesses as well, like software business vertical and others, which I won't dive into since they contribute very little to the overall business. Now that we have a good understanding of the various entities within the ITC group, let's conduct a SWOT analysis on the ITC group as a whole. Let's start by looking at the strengths. Market leadership in tobacco. ITC leads the market in the tobacco business. This segment is a cash cow for ITC, providing support for all of their other businesses while consuming relatively little operating cost. However, it is also important for us to note that this strength also exposes the company to the significant weakness and threat that we'll talk about in a minute. The second biggest strength being renowned brand. ITC owns some of India's most iconic brands. Brands like Ashirwad, Sunfeast, Will's Lifestyle, and ITC Hotels have substantial brand equity, which gives any new product an instant advantage. Third being distribution network. ITC's expansive distribution network across the country is another significant strength. The company's presence in every shop or supermarket fortifies its competitive position. Like in many ways, as I mentioned earlier, that ITC could be categorized as a cigarette company, I think it can also be categorized as a distribution company. Fourth being diversified portfolio. ITC's diverse business portfolio spread across numerous categories and serves a wide customer base, potentially mitigates the risk involved with being in a single sector. The important word over here is potentially. Now when it comes to weaknesses, the biggest one being the dependence on tobacco business. Despite diversification, ITC heavily relies on its tobacco business for revenue. The increasing regulatory pressure and shifting business attitude towards tobacco consumption pose considerable challenges for them. Second being intense competition and mediocre performance in other sectors. ITC faces fierce competition across most of its business, except let's say for the tobacco business, and it is not able to generate significant profit from those business. For instance, despite significant operational expense, the contribution of ITC Hotel to the overall revenue is minimal. And something very similar can be also said about the ITC FMCG business. ITC has yet to prove its mettle in such highly competitive industries. Now, when we talk about opportunities, India's expanding middle class population presents potential growth avenues for all of ITC consumer oriented business. The healthy cash flow from the tobacco business could fund their expansion into every other business. Second big opportunity could actually be rural markets. The underrepresented rural markets in India presents opportunity for growth, particularly for the FMCG sector, where ITC is trying to grow the most at this point of time. And the last opportunity that it can leverage to the full potential would be the end-to-end supply chain control. ITC is present throughout the supply chain, from raw material procurement to final output to the delivery of that item, which it can leverage for improved efficiency and reducing time to market. And finally, if we talk about threats, most of ITC threats stems from ITC's involvement in the tobacco business. Government regulations and the negative health impact of tobacco pose considerable challenges. Additionally, the company's inability to diversify quickly can compound these problems, especially as substantial investment in the FMCG sector haven't yet yielded adequate returns. With that, I conclude this comprehensive analysis of ITC. I hope it was useful, and I was able to answer the question that I said I would answer. If you feel like I did, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you with another deep dive in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.